Shalawama, Shalawama. I am Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Shalawama. I'm Dr. Yasapa with Zion Law School. Welcome to Astrotheology. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, y'all. Do forgive me for being late. I do apologize for that. Give me 1 second here. Let me check to make sure we have sound, okay? And then I'll be right with everyone. We'll give it a minute for everybody to get in. Again, let me just check to make sure we have sound and video. All right, so give me 1 second, please. I'll be right with y'all. Be right with you. All right. 1 second. So let's see if we are live. Mic check, mic check. So let's see, mic check. All right. So we are live. We are live. Wi-Fi connection is working. Everything is good. All right. So, here we go, y'all. I hope y'all are ready for today. I want to thank everybody for joining me again. The regulars, of course, the regulars are first. Special thank you for all of the regulars, the day ones, and the people I depend on in the comment section. You know who you are. Thank you for being here. Much, much appreciated. And may the Most High give you more than what's usual in return for helping to make this a really, really amazingly educational presentation. So those of you who who are new, excuse me, those of you who are new, welcome. This is Astrotheology. This is a series of video presentations where we read, discuss, interpret, and discuss the book called The Devil's Pulpit by the Reverend Robert Taylor. All right, so this book is a compilation of a series of sermons made in the early 1800s. So let me give a warning at the outset. This book, although it is not about devils and demons and all of that type of thing, as you might think due to the name, The Devil's Pulpit, it is a book that is based upon science. However, the warning that I feel like I should give is to all of the Christians and Hebrew Israelite Christians. You know who you are. Those of you who follow the New Testament, I want to warn you that the content that we are covering in this book, the author's opinion and his claims are somewhat shocking for many people, okay? And he makes his claim and states his claim sometimes very sarcastically in a way that might hurt some people's feelings, okay? So it's not our intent, not my intent to hurt your feelings at all. So it is my intent only to read the text, interpret the text, and when appropriate, share my opinion or my experience from my own life. But I am not in any way trying to influence you, the individual, to change your religion. That's not what I'm trying to do. I want to educate you, help you to understand what the author has written, okay? So how am I going to do that? I'm deploying hundreds of thousands of dollars that I have invested in my formal education, okay? Included in that are decades in the plural, of years spent in formal education. also all of the pain, agony, suffering, sacrifice, loneliness, and everything else that one must experience when going through higher education in the forms that I have gone through. So in other words, I'm sharing my life experiences with you, okay? Not just reading, but the insight that I have gained on learning and how to learn. In other words, I'm giving you access to my critical thinking skills and my analytical skills, okay? So that's why I hope you're here. That's my value proposition to you. So here we go with our topic, the devil's pulpit. Let me check the chat real quick, y'all, before we get started. Take a look at the screen too. By the way, like and share the video, please. Like and share the video. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Go through our channel. You're going to see that not only is the Astrotheology video series profoundly amazing, you're going to find that the content on Zion Law School YouTube channel is different and liberating, and it will bring you closer to the Most High. I can guarantee you that. All right, y'all. So now let's talk about reclaiming your heritage, which includes returning to the Most High and learning your language, which is Ancient Ibaryath. That is your language. Okay, that's what our documents were written in. Ancient Ibaryath, which is in the family of the Canaanite Phoenician languages. All right, everybody should know that. So this is a streaming course. It is complete. Okay, that's as much as I can say. It is complete. It is intense, intensive, comprehensive, whatever word you want to use. It is. Okay, there is no contract. You can cancel anytime. This is going to prepare you to be able to use Ibaryath like a tool and like a weapon, like a sword. 101 Ancient Ibaryath streaming course is going to allow you to open up the scriptures as though you have a tool using science. Okay, so everybody, all of the ascendants of the house of Yasharallah, okay, in religion, y'all say Israelites. All of you who are bloodline Yasharallah must, otherwise you're cheating yourself, must, to be good to yourself, subscribe to 101 Ancient Ibaryath. Okay, everything is there. So let me stop with that now. Let's go into our book. Give me 1 second. Let me put it up, y'all. Let me check the comments, see what we have. All right, Jerice writes, it's rough, but interesting and interesting. Yeah, it's the 101 streaming course, just like any language, requires effort. It requires attention, effort, persistence, diligence, and commitment, just like you're learning any other language. But with Ibaryath, because it's ours, it's the motivation to learn it is there, as opposed if you're learning Spanish or Latin or or something like that, or French, right, or any of the other languages that we learn in school. The motivation is there because when you learn Ancient Ibaryath, it's going to allow you to crack open the scriptures. It's going to allow you to be independent of any rabbi, pastor, or preacher, right? Now you'll be in the position to do things on your own. You don't need a teacher now. You don't even need me. Okay, go through that course. It's going to give you the basics, and then come to our Saturday 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time course, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time course, because in that course, you're going to get a demonstration like an espresso, an intense deep dive. So you actually see the practice of what you're learning in the one-on-one course. You'll see it in action. Okay. That's the power. And it's not going to cost you anything. You can come twice for free. Make sure you read the description. The link for the one-on-one Ancient Ibaryath course and our Saturday class, 10 a.m., that's called 506 The Curses course, okay, where we're going through Deuteronomy 28:15 through 29. Both links are in the description area of this video. Take advantage of it, y'all. Take advantage. But remember, every language requires dedication and commitment, persistence, diligence, right? Diligence, okay? It requires effort, time, and attention. But you can do it. And the motive is there because this is how you will be able to do exactly what Robert Taylor, what we saw him doing to the Gospels. He ripped the Gospels wide open, just basically using etymology. Basically only using etymology and what? Church father writings, which is history, and with his knowledge of mythology as it pertained to the topic. That's all. So imagine what you'll be able to do when you go through the one-on-one Ancient Ibaryath course and when you come to our Saturday course. You'll be able to rip open the Hebrew scriptures. But you won't know that until you actually do it. Otherwise, you're just taking my word for it. But find out for yourself. Be good to you. Okay, I'm being good to you. I'm making these things, the one-on-one course is almost free. Saturday, you come 2 times for free. So don't mistake Zion Law School being good to you for a low quality, undesirable product. Don't make that mistake because it's far from that. The prices are low, so that everyone in the world, no matter how much your money is worth compared to the dollar, can afford to take the course. The whole idea is to have it so low so that we can have a lot of people, thousands of people all over the world. That's the goal, enrolled in the class. And then Saturday, 10 a.m., every Saturday, 10 a.m., you can come for free twice, right? So we are doing the best we can. So everybody, scholars in the audience, support us, okay? Support us. We also have that Animals in the Bible book for only $9.99. Full color. It's going to tell you almost all of the animals in the Bible, their names. In the Ibaryath, show you how to pronounce it and give you the English rendering or the English name. But anyway, what more can we do? We're producing literature to help our people come out, wake up, be able to understand and render, translate the Hebrew scriptures, right? Understand the original Ibaryath, reclaim our heritage. What more can we do? We have 7 links to books that we've written in the description area of this video. We're doing the best we can. All right, y'all. So let me get off my soapbox. Jerice, are you ready to go? You ready to get started? I'm ready to get started. Okay, so welcome, Shalom, to all of the house of Yasharallah and to the entire nation of the Moors, regardless of what nation you come from in Genesis chapter 10. All right, so Shalom and Islam to all of the Moors. The house of Yasharallah are also Moors. We've shown that. It's a non-issue now. Okay, so we will begin on page 260. We'll begin on page 260. Now, remember, last time, yesterday in our presentation, we left off discussing the 2 pillars. The 2 pillars symbolic of the vernal equinox, March 21st, or the spring equinox. That straight line on one end is the vernal equinox, March 21st. On the opposite end is the autumn equinox, September 21st. Okay, September 29 is the last day of the grape harvest, right? Last day of the grape harvest. The idea is harvesting your grapes so that you can make the wine, right? We talked about the deity of wine and the wild, outrageous orgies that were associated with that, and then how the Freemasons went terribly wrong. Okay, we also talked about the password. Remember the tetragrammaton? The Christian tetragrammaton that the author introduced us to? Everyone remember that? The Christian tetragrammaton, capital I, capital N, capital R, capital I. That is an acronym for the password to enter into the Hebrew Lodge. The Hebrew Lodge being the highest level of education, meaning it's the top of the line lodge for Freemasonry. And one would need to know what that acronym stands for, because that is the password to enter. So the author brought all of this to our attention. Now, let's go back to the pillars. All right, so again, the pillar, the double pillar, represents strength and science, or science and power. Okay? Strength, science, and power. It also has a Hebrew, not Hebrew, but a Christian interpretation. Scholars, you should recall the Christian interpretation. Now, that Christian interpretation tells us, excuse me, that Christian meaning tells us that it is equivalent to, that Christian meaning is equivalent in religion to science and power, or science and strength, right? These are the tools that they rule the world. Science and strength, and through what? Religion, Christianity. Is that clear? Christianity. Through the form of what? The author told us that imagination, and what else? Making people a fool by capturing the imagination. All right, so now let's continue. Freemasons went wrong, or went bad, because of alcohol and orgies. Remember? And I'm sure they had cocaine back in those days, y'all. I'm sure they had cocaine, right? We know that they had cocaine. So maybe they were even using cocaine too. Okay? Because everybody should know right now that there's evidence that people were using cocaine thousands of years ago. Okay, so definitely cocaine was available. Maybe they were using that too. I don't know. But if they were using alcohol in excess, then alcohol is going to lead to other types of drugs, right? All right, that's just common sense. Let's continue. Is there anything else we need to review? Okay, I don't think so. I think that's sufficient review. But keep in mind, scholars, science and power. Science and power. Okay, in other words, what is science? Science is observing nature and performing certain types of experimentations to create new technology through what? Through describing nature. Okay, and then learning how to put that description to use to make it, which is a technology. Okay. So that's how one would create commerce and also wage war, right? And also control populations of people or enslave them through linguistics or just pure military force. So those who are focused on religion who are focused on religion sacrifice science, therefore sacrifice commerce, you can't build any type of weaponry to defend yourself either, right? Because you're focused on religion, devils and demons and ceremonies, right? So you're always going to be in the slave position. All right, that should be clear. Any questions, let me know. All right, so now let's begin our presentation right now. Give me 1 second. Let me go back to my page. Let's go back to the page. Oh, by the way, the author also said that there is the secret of Freemasonry is there is no secret, if I remember correctly. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention that when we look at the, this is still in review. When we look at the vernal equinox and the autumn equinox, each end of the line, right? That, as a matter of fact, let me show it. Each end of the line, I'm going to pull it up, y'all. Each of the opposing ends of the line are a covenant or covenant. So let me make sure this is showing y'all. Give me 1 second. Let me refresh your memory. And for those of you who were not here, this might be your first time seeing this. So let's go ahead and show it. All right. So just follow the cursor. So here's our cursor here. This is the line that I'm talking about. All right. So this is March 21st. This is one covenant or covenant. So here's the line passing through the earth, going over to the other end. So these are opposite ends, right? Opposite ends of the line. All right, so on this end or the opposite end, we have the autumn equinox, which is September 23rd. This is another covenant or another covenant. So springtime is a covenant of works or the covenant of labor. And in the autumn, this is the covenant of enjoyment, the covenant of grace. Why? Because you're getting your harvest. Time to eat, time to make wine and drink and be merry, right? So there are two covenants. So if you can see from the earth to here, this line here this is the celestial equator, okay, y'all? So from the celestial equator to the earth on this side, this is one pillar. All right, this is one pillar, okay? Strength. And from the earth until the celestial equator here, this is the second pillar, okay, the second pillar. Science. So science, now either line or either pillar can either be power or science, okay? And it's also, it has the religious meaning too in Christianity, all right? Now, the Moors, from what I understand, those of you who are Moors, those of you scholars who are in the Moorish paradigm, you would know this better than me. My understanding is this: the great Masonic secret is that we are at home. We are Moors and we are at home in the Americas. Okay, the vast estate, the greatest, wealthiest estate on the planet is ours. This is the great Masonic secret according to Moorish science, which is different from what the author has told us. Okay, so make that clear. Make that clear. If anyone has anything that you want to add to that or any correction, please put it in the comment section so that everyone can get that information. All right. So let's go. Let's go. And by the way, remember, this is I don't know if this is a big point or a small point, but remember the sun, when the sun crosses the celestial equator here, the sun is not in Virgo. No, the sun is not in Virgo. Job chapter 31 tells us, quote, I have made the covenant with mine eyes, meaning I have by astronomical observation ascertained the point of the covenant. Remember, the covenant is covenant, okay? I have ascertained, and it is in Libra, all right? It is in Libra, not Virgo, not the Virgin. All right. And then Job 31 continues, why then should I look for it in the Virgin of August? Or why then should I look for it in a woman, the woman being the Virgin of August, Virgo? All right, scholars, we are doing well. I think we're going to wrap up the review of yesterday's presentation in a second now. So remember, going back to the two columns, let's show the two columns. Oh, by the way, scholars, please contact your friends and family and let them know that we are live doing this video. Please do that for me. Let them know that we are live doing this video. I would appreciate that very much if y'all could do that for me. Okay, if y'all would do that for me, I would appreciate it very much. It would help a great deal to have more people here. So let's look up the Masonic columns. So one column is Jachin and the other is Boaz. So these are examples of the columns that correlate with the autumn equinox and the fall equinox. Now y'all see the globe on top? So you see what that's symbolizing? Okay, so the earth separates the line, and that separation is what creates these two columns, right? So isn't it interesting how they have the earth on top of here? Y'all see that? Okay, you see the J down here? Take a look at the J. Everybody see the J right here? Jachin and B, Boaz. Everybody see that? Scottish Rite Masonic Museum and Library, Jachin and Boaz. Okay. All right. Vernal equinox, the line is cut off by the earth. Autumn equinox, that line is cut off by the earth. All right. So there we have it. Okay, I think this is pretty clear, right? I wish I could have found some of those pictures of the Hebrew Israelites in the pictures with these columns. And unfortunately, I think they don't even know. They're not aware of it. So y'all see Boaz, in him is strength, north side. Jachin, he shall establish south side. Anyway, if y'all want to know more about this, go ahead and go through it. Okay. I think I'm going to go back to our presentation. All right. But if y'all have any links to the Hebrew Israelites standing between the pillars, please let me know. Oh, here's another good one. So do y'all see the pillar, vernal equinox, and now the earth cuts it off, right? And then on the upper side, there will be another pillar, right? So y'all see it, vernal equinox and autumn equinox. The line is broken by the earth. All right, so I think that's good enough, y'all. All right, so let me see if we have anything in the comments before I continue. All right, so let's go back to the book, go back to the PDF. So reach out to some friends and family and ask them to join us for the live stream, please. Let's get more people in. It's really my desire for all of our people if we had some type of movement where we all learned, we all read, studied this book, so that we would all become educated on astrotheology, so that we can make a conscious, well-informed, educational, intentional decision as to whether or not the New Testament is a fairy tale or if it's really what it says it is. And then that way we would be, as a people, beyond not knowing or relying on other people or just guessing or just talking trash or just believing, right? It's not a good place to be when you are in belief. All right, so let's see. All right, y'all, so we're going to begin. I think I'm done with the do I want to do this? Let me read. You know what? Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's begin here, okay? Let's begin here. Let's begin at the highlight. This is also in review. Also in review. And the vinters, now remember, vinters, that means winemakers, winemaking, okay? And the vinters, or those who tread upon the grapes to press their juice out, do every year trample underfoot of the son, S-O-N, of capital G-O-D. That is, of capital G-O-D, the true vine. Now, JC, the Christ figure, is said to be also the Father, right? So that's why we're seeing capital G-O-D as the Father and also the true vine, grapevine, or the deity whose name is spelled B-A-C-C-H-U-S, the deity of wine, right? Being really the offspring, gift, capital G-I-F-T, or son, S-O-N, of the sun, S-U-N, in the constellation of Gab, G-A-B, which is March. Now, March, scholars, remember, is the vernal equinox. Let me show it again, just for emphasis. So now we see astronomical correlations coming in, right? So the author is taking us back into astrotheology. All right. So here's March. Y'all see it? Here's March. All right. This is the point that the author is talking about. That's the point that the author is talking about. Let's continue. But they never account the blood of the covenant. Remember, y'all, covenant. Covenant. The blood of the covenant with which they are sanctified. That is, sunnified, S-U-N-N-I-F-I-D. So the author made that word up. If I may coin that word, he said that if you will just go with him, he made up the word sunnified, because we're dealing with the sun, right? And ripening of grapes to make them sweet, the blood of the grapes. All right. He continues, to have sunshine put into them, an unholy, that is, an unsunny thing. Why is it unsunny? Because you see, when the sun is here in the summer, it reaches its zenith, right? And as it goes from its zenith or highest point in the sky, the only place it can go is lower. Lower and lower and lower. That means that what? The number of daylight hours are decreasing as we move closer and closer to September 23rd, which is the autumn equinox. Therefore, the grapes are getting less sun, and so they begin to ripen for the harvest. That is what the author is talking about. So let's continue. That is an unsunny thing. That's what he means by unsunny thing. They know it is the finest drink in the world. That's the grape or the wine. They know that it is the finest drink in the world, and that they owe it entirely to the sun, whose blood is so striking a metaphor, it really is. So now, what are they talking about? They owe it entirely to the sun, S-U-N, whose blood, in my opinion, the author is referring to the S-O-N, sun, also, right? The S-O-N, who was so-called, well, either crucified or hung, right? His blood spilled out. The S-O-N, and then also the S-U-N. So it's reading both ways, or it's applying to both. And that they owe it entirely to the sun, S-U-N, whose blood is so striking a metaphor. It really is. Metaphor for what? The Christ figure's blood. Okay? That's what he's referring to. So let's go back to the PDF. Let me check to see if there are any comments. So scholars, please be more active in the comments. Ask questions, make statements, copy paste definitions, all of that, work that needs to go into the comment section, so that people who we know, most people are not going to look up words. They're not going to search for citations. So let's be more active. That also not only makes it easier for people to learn, but it will also activate the YouTube algorithm so that we can get this information in front of more people, so they have an opportunity to know that it's here and then learn, because we have to return as a people, not just individually, right? Okay, so now let's go to the next paragraph. Give me 1 second here. I really enjoyed this, y'all. I hope that you all, scholars in the audience, I hope that you're able to see that I also enjoyed this. I hope you can feel my positive energy, my positive vibrations about this topic. All right, so we're going to begin reading at the highlight here. And thus it is in reference to the scales of justice, that is Libra, and thus it is in reference to the scales of justice that the Grand Master in the Epistle to the Hebrews, or the epistles to the Freemasons, and thus it is in reference to the scales of justice that the Grand Master in the Epistle to the Hebrews, or Freemasons of the line of the Passover or the plummet, plays off his riddles about, quote, we know him that have said, vengeance belongeth unto me. And the capital G, L-O-R-D, that is the capital S-U-N, shall judge his people. We read that, I think, in, I think that was in Isaiah 63, 1 through 8, maybe 4, 5, 6, 8 presentations ago. Okay, we read, as a matter of fact, let me check that out. Now, y'all know, you will recall, scholars in the audience, you will recall that vengeance, if you look into the technical meaning of vengeance, it's going to have to do with winemaking. We went through that, so go back and watch those videos. Go back and watch those presentations, those astrotheology presentations, and you'll get that information. All right, so that this information that we're covering right now is in the chapter called The Cup of Salvation, the Cup of Salvation. So that's where you'll want to go to get that information. And the information about vengeance is mine, or vintage, that is, oh, by the way, when you go through and look at those verses, make sure you look at page, at that chapter, make sure you look at page 233. And there's a footnote about the literal meaning of agony agony literally is a wine press. So y'all make sure y'all go through that. Let's see. I'm trying to get the page for you all about vengeance. I think I passed it. Hold on. If I don't get it, we'll move forward. Give me 1 second. I want to make this easy for you, as easy as I can, so you don't have to spend a lot of time going through things. All right. Well, the verse is Isaiah chapter 68. The verse that the author is citing here or quoting from is Isaiah chapter 68, verse 1 through 8. Verse 1 through 8. Okay, that's the chapter on a cup of salvation. All right, so let me just take one more look and see if I can find this information about the vintage. Okay, well, it's in the footnotes, so when y'all go through it, excuse me, when you go through this chapter, just search the footnotes and you'll see the meaning of vengeance as it is related. Oh, same page, y'all, same page. Page 233. Well, I'm not going to read it. If you don't remember it, then that means you need to go back and review. But it's on page 233. You'll see the meaning of agony and vengeance, avenger, vindication, and you'll see their technical meaning. So if you do not remember, go back and review those videos on the cup of salvation. Also check your copy of the Devil's Pulpit on page 233 if you do not recall that information. So now let's go back to our reading. But first, let me get some water because I need to get some water. Give me 1 second, y'all. Okay. Wow. Excuse me. Okay, here we go. We will continue. All right. So, and thus it is in reference to the scales of justice, that is Libra, the constellation Libra. Remember, justice, righteousness, justice and righteousness, balance scales, always. And thus it is in reference to the scales of justice that the Grand Master in the Epistle to the Hebrews, or Freemasons of the line of the Passover. What Passover, right? Notice he said the line of the Passover, or the plummet, plays off his riddles about, quote, y'all see the author calls it riddles, right? Why riddles? Why riddles? Well, the author told us several pages ago that only Freemasons at the highest levels are told the secret Masonic meaning of the Epistle to the Hebrews. So in other words, it's all riddles to the Christians, to people who are not or who have not achieved the degree of Hebrew, the Hebrew degree. You will not know the meaning that we've just been going through. Is it clear, scholars? All right, very good, excellent. All right, so they are riddles, okay, or Freemasons of the line of the Passover or the plummet plays off his riddles about, quote, we know him that have said vengeance, that is agony, that is technical speak for winemaking. We know him who said, winemaking belongs to me. And the capital Lord, that is the sun. Winemaking belongs to me and the Father, right? Capital Lord, the capital Sun. And the capital Lord, that is the Son, shall judge his people. As I know all about it too, quote, the day of vengeance is, end quote, that is literally of wine making. Everybody see that? You'd have to be a Hebrew degree Freemason in the Royal Ark branch of Freemasonry in order to have this understanding. But now you have it now because we are reading through the Devil's Pulpit, right? We're reading through it and understanding, comprehending what we are reading. You see, I've not held back anything from anybody. Y'all see that? I'm freely sharing. That's the advantage of reading a book as opposed to watching a video. Because watching a video, whoever made the video may not want you to know this, or they may not even realize that this is important and everybody should know it. Okay? Or they might want to stay 10, 20, 30, 100 steps ahead of you and only give you enough to keep you coming back, watching their videos so that they can get paid. So you traded one master for another, one leech for another, sucking off your energy. Y'all understand? This is the value of reading books. This is why reading comprehension, understanding grammar, etymology, philology is so important. It's critical. The author has already told us that Freemasons, they use characters and symbols, which is language, to conquer the world and to conquer your mind and to hold you and keep you and oppress you with slavery, physical and mental, all right? And you see what they're doing to you now with the pandemic, all right? Y'all see how they use language to pressure people into taking poison? Y'all see that? And how people crumbled and fell for it? Because they look at these people as being what? Authorities, experts. In other words, capital GODs. All right? So, you need to learn. You need to learn linguistics. But what about the Hebrew Israelites and what you believe and what you practice now? Okay, how much of that is BS too? And then how do you know? Really, how do you know? This is why it's so critically important for everybody who hears and sees this video to subscribe to 101 Ancient Ibaryath. Save yourself. Save yourself. We've made it almost free. There's no excuse. Okay? No excuse. Any abuse or hardship that you suffer, if you haven't subscribed to that course and if you're not using it to learn, then that's on you. You can take the horse to the well, but you can't make him drink. All right, y'all. So let's continue. See, we are demonstrating, the author is demonstrating the power of philology, etymology, right? He's demonstrating. 101 Ancient Ibaryath, the streaming course. And on Saturday, you can also learn to demonstrate, right? You know how in the Kung Fu movies, they do all those fancy moves and they do this and all, you know, and you'll be able to do that with language. You'll look nice, right? It'll be cool. All right, so let's continue. But you'll be using it with language, like kung fu with language, right? All right, so that's the mental image. So let's continue. Excuse me. All right, so here we are. Let me highlight it, as I promised I would start doing. It is the allegorical language of the sun, S-U-N, in the scale of September. Y'all got that? Let me go back and read the verse for y'all. No, you know what? I'll do better. I'll do better. Let's look it up. I'm gonna share the verse on the screen. King Michael Shalom. King Michael writes, "Presente." So let's go ahead and look at Isaiah. Was it Isaiah 68? Yeah, Isaiah 68, 1 through 8. I think that's what it was. Let me go back and check it, y'all. I'm going to share the screen. Excuse me. I'm going to share the screen. So I think that verse was in the chapter. Yeah, that was the verse in the cup of salvation. Let me pull that up real quick. I think it was 230 something. So I hope y'all are enjoying this presentation. I really, really do. All right. Yeah, it appears to be Isaiah 68. Let's look at it in the KJV. I don't know how it's going to read in the KJV. Give me 1 second. Am I sharing? Okay, so let me get my screen share together, y'all. So please, if you haven't already subscribed, if you like what you are getting, please subscribe. And also like and share the video. And again, call your family and friends and tell them we're live doing astrotheology, Freemasonry. Oops. Okay, so we need Isaiah 68. That's Isaiah 6:8. So call, and why is it not? Oh, here we are. Isaiah 68, King James. What is this? The Berean call. Oh man, what's going on with that? What is that? Let's see. Why is this so difficult? All right, y'all, let me do this again. Isaiah 68. Let's put KJV. Let's read this. And good, man, this is crazy. Why is it coming up like this, y'all? Do y'all see what's happening here? I'm typing in, I'm getting everything, but maybe there's no Isaiah 68. Hold on, maybe I got this wrong. Maybe there is no, maybe I'm reading the Roman numeral wrong. Yeah, I'm reading the Roman numeral wrong. Give me 1 second, y'all. So Isaiah, let's see. Oh, it's 58. I believe it's 58. Yeah, Isaiah 58. Sorry about that, y'all. Correction. I think it's Isaiah 58. Isaiah 58, 1 through 8. Isaiah 58, 1 through 8. Is that it? Give me 1 second. Who is this that come from Edith? Let me just type that in. Give me 1 second. I know we looked at this before. I don't think we had a problem. Who is this that cometh from Eden? Oh, Isaiah 63. Okay, Isaiah 63, y'all, 1 through 8. My bad. My bad. Isaiah 63, 1 through 8. Isaiah 63. Isaiah 63. This is this claim that the author is making is very damaging to Christians and Hebrew Israelites alike, because this is involving Edom, right? And Hebrew Israelites, the understanding that the author is giving here basically says Edom has nothing to do with the real meaning of the text, right? So that kind of makes it difficult for Hebrew Israelite doctrine about Edom, Esau, Edom. But anyway, excuse me, I do apologize. Isaiah 63, 1 through 8 reads, "Who is this coming from Edom with Basra, with his garments stained crimson?" Let's look up crimson. Crimson. Then we'll come back. With his garment stained crimson. So now we see the color crimson, right? We see various colors of crimson. All right. So now let's go back to the text. All right. Isaiah 63, 1 through 8. Who is this coming from Edom with Basra, with his garments stained crimson? Who is this robed in splendor? Who is this robed in splendor, striding forward in the greatness of his strength? All right, so this person is looking spectacular, right? Looking amazing. Okay. It is I, proclaiming victory, mighty to save. All right, okay, you looking good. All right, you looking good. 2, why are your garments red, like those of one treading in the winepress? I have trodden the winepress alone. From the nations, no one was with me. I trampled them in my anger and trod them down in my wrath. Their blood spattered my garments, and I stained all my clothes. It was for me the day of vengeance. The year for me to redeem had come. I looked, but there was no one to help. I was appalled that no one gave support. So my own arm achieved salvation for me. So my own arm achieved salvation for me. And my own wrath sustained me. So my own arm achieved salvation for me, and my own wrath sustained me. I trampled the nations in my anger. In my wrath, I made them drunk and poured their blood on the ground. I will tell of the kindness of the capital Lord, the deeds for which he is to be praised, according to all the capital Lord has done for us. For us. Yes, the many good things he has done for the house of Yasharallah, according to his compassion and many kindnesses. He said, surely they are my people, children who will be true to me. And so he became their savior. Now, if we were to look in the Bible Hub at Isaiah 63, verse 8, we should see what? Instead of true, we should see one or more translations that said, children who will not lie to me. Then that's a problem too, right? As a matter of fact, let's see if we can find that just for fun. Just for fun. Isaiah 63, verse 8. Because we know our ancestors lied their butt off. So I don't know which one is the better rendering, right? But the author uses in the book, the author uses the rendering that says children who will not lie. All right. So now here we see the English Standard Version. It says children who will not deal falsely. All right. So not dealing falsely, that means they won't lie, right? Or surely they will not betray me again. Okay. So let's see. Now the again, now I haven't looked at this, y'all. So I don't know if again should be there or not. Okay. My people, sons who will not be disloyal. So we know our ancestors was disloyal, right? They were definitely disloyal. Here we go. King James Bible for all of you Hebrew Israelites that only look at the KJV. Here you are. Children that will not lie. Problematic, right? For he said, surely they are my people, children that will not lie. So he was their savior, right? So anyway, something to think about, have some fun with, right? Something to think about and have some fun with, trying to figure it out. But it would actually be quite easy to figure this out. Just check underneath to see what the original language says. It's really not a big deal. But for fun, all right, so let's say Roderick's point of view writes, greetings, Roderick's point of view, Shalawama. Good to see you. By the way, Shalawama to everyone and Islam to the entire empire, the entire family of Moors. Okay, and everybody knows Genesis chapter 2, Genesis chapter 10, and Jubilees chapter 8, I believe. Okay, and the lawful meaning of land, okay, in the Black's Law Dictionary. All right, so now let's continue, y'all. Let's go back. Since we refreshed our memory on what the author is referring to, let's get back to the text. All right, so we are going to pluck. Hold on, y'all. I'm in the wrong place. Let me go back to the page. Sorry about that. Give me 1 second. Okay, so we are. Here we are. Let's just start back at the top. For the highlight. All right, so it reads, and thus it is in reference to the scales of justice, that is the constellation of Libra, right? Libra, the scales of justice, that is righteousness, justice, right? All right, balanced scales, that the Grand Master has to do, or is referring to who? Most likely the grand architect of the universe, as Freemasons would say, right? That's what I'm thinking. You know, maybe it's a leader. Maybe it's a Freemason leader. I don't know, because I don't know anything about Freemasonry. But let's continue. And thus it is in reference to the scales of justice, that's Libra, that the Grand Master in the Epistle to the Hebrews, or Freemasons of the line of Passover, we need to find out what that is, or the plummet, plays off his riddle about, quote, we know him that have said, vengeance belongeth unto me, and the capital Lord, that is the Son, shall judge his people, end quote. As I know all about it too. Quote, the day of vengeance, that is literally of vine, V-I-N-E. The day of vengeance, that is literally of vine, gents, meaning nothing else than the day of working the vine, wine making. It is the allegorical language of the capital S-U-N, sun. In the scale of September, that's Libra, y'all. And all the scope of this affair is nothing more than a warning on the part of the master of the vintage, that's the master of winemaking. All of this is nothing more than a warning on the part of the master of the vintage to those who are employed in trampling under the foot of the sun, S-O-N, of capital G-O-D, to remember that the blood of the covenant was very intoxicating. To remember that the blood of the covenant, that is the autumn equinox, the blood of the covenant, that's the pillar, the autumn equinox, September 23rd, last day of the grape harvest, September 29th, the blood of the grapes. And the scope of this affair is nothing more than a warning on the part of the master of the vintage, on the part of the master of the winemaking, to those who were employed in trampling under the foot of the sun, S-O-N, of capital G-O-D, to remember that the blood of the covenant was very intoxicating. And if they should get drunk, with it, as to fall into the vat, it would be, let me adjust the page for y'all. Okay, it would be this Greek word, right? That's where we are. It would be a very dangerous thing. If they got drunk with the wine and fell into the vat, it would be a very dangerous thing. It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of this Greek word, that fermenting, capital G-O-D, that is into the wine vat. It's a fearful thing to fall in that wine vat. So I'm warning you, if you drink too much, it can be dangerous, because if you fall in that wine vat, you might not make it out. That's what the author is telling us. All right, next paragraph. Next paragraph. So what do y'all think about the author's evidence right now? What do you all think about his evidence? Appalachian Joel writes, Islam. Greetings, Dr. Yasapa. Greetings to all. Islam and Shalom, Appalachian Joel. Good to see you. What do you all think about the author's evidence right now? What do you think about his presentation? Put it in the comment section, please. All right, so let's continue, y'all. Let's go back to our PDF and continue with the presentation here. All right, so here we are. So we'll begin on the highlighted section. The Jews, in order of Freemasons, above that of Christians, but below that of Hebrews, profess that the same of the supreme deity is unutterable. Let me repeat that again. The Jews, that would be the Israelites, right? The Jews, in order of Freemasons, above the Christian order. So there's the Christian degree is first, the Israelites or Jew degree second, and then the Hebrew degree third. And I forgot what he said is above that. Or if there's something above it, it doesn't come to my mind right now, but it will. The Jews, in order of Freemasons, above that of Christians, but below that of Hebrews, profess that the name of the supreme deity is unutterable. We see that at Hebrews Strong's number 3068, right? We see that in Strong's number 3068 when we look up the Tetragrammaton, and invariably substitute in the stead of the word, which we absurdly and erroneously pronounce, and I'm not going to spell it. I'm not going to pronounce it. I'm just going to highlight it, right? And erroneously pronounce, and y'all see the highlight right there. And then we see this deity here. This is worth, y'all should look this up in the Strongs. Okay, both of these deities. Y'all should know the relationship. Look them up in the Strongs. All right, so let's continue. So in other words, okay, so the Jews, in order of Freemasons above that of Christians, but below that of Hebrews, profess that the name of the supreme deity, that's the Tetragrammaton, right, is unutterable, and invariably substitute in the stead of the word which we absurdly and erroneously pronounce. And y'all saw it, right? This one right here, okay, and here, which is literally my, capital Lords, my, capital Lords. That's in the plural, right? With the pronoun suffix to the plural of the word. So we cover this kind of stuff in our Saturday 10 a.m. class, y'all. We get into stuff like this. The well-known name of the beautiful son of Marha in the pagan mythology, and never meaning anything else than the sun itself. That is ad, the capital Lord. And here again, we're back to the same old usual stuff, right? On, the being, is the fire, which is the sun. In allegorical language, the father, the husband, the son, the lover of the lamb's wife, that is the everlasting Mrs. Lamb, the august Virgin Mary of the zodiac. While the Freemasons of a higher degree make a precisely similar pretense and have a mystical or talismanic name of capital God, which is never communicated but to the very highest of the craft, which they are not allowed to utter, but I will, and of which they themselves don't know the meaning, and I do. All right, y'all. So, I mean, we're in good shape, right? I mean, we're doing well to get this information, aren't we? We are very privileged to get this information. How many people, put it in the chat, how many people do y'all think have actually gone through this book the way we are going through this book now? How many people? I bet you most people who downloaded this book, who printed this book, never ever read what we just read. What the author is telling us is that there's another name for the divine deity, and it's not the Tetragrammaton, right? In Freemasonry, and they hide it. Do y'all see the significance of that? Okay, Appalachian Joe L writes, Shalawama, Dr. Yasapa, Shalawama, Shalawama. He continues, what page are we on? We are on page 261. Let me go and highlight where we're at. Hey, y'all, this is a big deal, scholars. So all of these people who are calling on some version of the Tetragrammaton, according to Freemasonry, that's not the deity's name at all, as we just read. Worse than that, the author is telling us that this name, the Tetragrammaton, is pagan. It's pagan. And you have all these Christians and Hebrew Israelites arguing over who pronounces the name correctly. When, according to Freemasons, according to the author, his knowledge, which is more vast than these people today. I mean, you just look at 1831 when he gave the lecture. Okay, try to take a reading test or a grammar test given then. Try to do that now. I bet you fail. Not only that, but you can see by the quality of the book that the author is very educated on the topic. So I'm tending to believe, I'm inclined to not believe everything he says, but I'm inclined to believe him more than Hebrew Israelites and Christians today. But of course, do your own research, right? Do your own research. Don't believe, go and do follow-up research. All right, so do y'all see that? The Christians and the Hebrew Israelites are arguing over not the Tetragrammaton being the deity's name, but how to pronounce it. How to pronounce it. But there's consensus that the Tetragrammaton is the divine name. Well, the author just kind of rained on that parade, right? The author is telling that it is of pagan origin, right? It is of pagan origin. Okay? It is, in fact, literally capital my, M-Y, capital L-O-R-D-S, that's the plural, with the pronoun suffix to the plural of the word. Y'all go and look this stuff up in the Strongs, okay? We do this, like I said, we do this stuff all the time, this type of work in our Saturday 10 a.m. class, which everybody is welcome to come to. You can come twice for free, right? No reason for you not to come. Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Won't cost you a penny. You don't have to buy a book. No excuse. The well-known name of the beautiful son of Marha. So somebody, if you have time and you want to help your people, do a presentation on who is Mahra, or Marha rather. Do a presentation on the son of Marha in the pagan mythology, and then present it here, right here. Okay, do a presentation. So let us know who Marha is. That's an invitation for anybody who wants to provide that information for the people. Okay. And never meaning anything else than the sun itself. That is, this is quite damning for Christians and Hebrew Israelites. That is AD, that is add, the capital L-O-R-D. And we go through what we've been going through, all of these pages that this was mentioned. On is the being. Is the fire, which is the sun. In allegorical language, the father, the husband, the son, the lover of the lamb's wife, that is the everlasting Miss Lamb, the August Virgin, that's Virgo, Mary of the zodiac. While the Freemasons of a higher degree make a precisely similar pretense and have a mystical or talismanic name of capital G-O-D, which is never communicated, but to the very highest of the craft. which they are not allowed to utter, but I will, says the author, and of which they themselves don't know the meaning, and I do, says the author. Y'all, this is big. This is really big. All right. I hope I'm not the only one. Let me take a look at it again. Make sure that I'm not seeing something that's not there. I'm gonna read it to myself, y'all. Give me 1 second. Yeah, it appears. See, he says, while the Freemasons of a higher degree make a precisely similar pretense. So they make a similar pretense and have a mystical or talismanic name of capital God. So it appears that there are two different names of the divine deity. Of important note concerning the tetragrammaton, let's punch. Well, no, let me not say that. I don't want to offend anybody. We see here the author is informing us that the tetragrammaton is of pagan origin. It is a pagan deity. Research it, and if you find that the author's research, his presentation, his information, his evidence is correct, if you find that, what must you consider? I have to stop right now. This is important. Appellation Joel, we're on page 261. I need to stop right now, y'all, because this is important. We need to go to the 10 Commandments, okay? This is really important. All right. It's a matter of life and death, health and poverty. It's a matter of life and death, health and poverty according to the contract. So we need to stop and go to this. All right. So everybody has homework. If you're calling on the tetragrammaton, regardless of how you are pronouncing it, regardless of how you pronounce it, you have homework here. This is the 10 Commandments, Exodus chapter 20, coming out of the NIV. I'm going to begin with verse 1. And the Most High spoke all these words. I am the Most High, your power, who brought you out of Egypt, the land of slavery. You shall have no other powers before me. If the author is correct, if the author's evidence, if his claim is correct, and the only way you're going to know if that claim is correct is if you do follow on research. Who is Marha, and who's the son of Marha? Tetragrammaton worship is sun worship. Tetragrammaton worship is astrology. Tetragrammaton worship is astronomy, astrology, pagan, according to the evidence that the author has presented to us. So if you are calling on the tetragrammaton, regardless of how you are pronouncing the name, regardless of how you pronounce the name, you now have evidence that you are worshiping a pagan deity. You are practicing astrology and astronomy. But don't believe the author. Go and do your follow-on research. Why? Why? Because we just looked at our instructions. Exodus chapter 20. Again, Exodus chapter 20. And the Most High spoke all of these words. I am the Most High, your power, who brought you out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. You shall have no other powers before me. Verse 4. You shall not make for yourself an image in the form of anything in heaven, above, or on earth beneath, or in the waters below. You shall not bow down to them or worship them. If you are worshiping the Tetragrammaton, regardless of how you pronounce it, regardless of the pronunciation, you are in jeopardy of being in violation of the very first instruction, which is to have no other powers before the Most High. You shall not bow down to them or worship them, for I, the Most High, your power, am a jealous power, punishing the children for the sin of the parents to the third and fourth generation of those who hate me, but showing love to the 1,000 generations of those who love me and keep my commandments, follow my instructions, okay? 7, you shall not misuse the name of the Most High, your power, for the Most High will not hold anyone guiltless who misuses his name. Now, of course, we know that name is a rendering, okay? What should be there is reputation or some other expression or word or phrase that expresses the etymological or the Ibaryath meaning of this Hebrew word. All right, so let's just do one more thing here. Okay, so we just read that that's breaking the law. All right, now let's go into the terms of the contract. So that's Deuteronomy 28. Let's look at verse 15. This is for all of you who are calling on the Tetragrammaton. All right. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15, NIV version. However, if you do not obey the Most High, your power, and do not carefully follow, carefully means, what does carefully mean, scholars? It means to intentionally avoid harm, to be cautious, right? It's intention. Intentionally to avoid harm or error. To intentionally avoid harm or error, to be cautious. However, if you do not obey the Most High, your power, and do not carefully follow all his commands and decrees I am giving you today. Today, that was a time, that is a timestamp, brother. That's what he said to Moses, what he gave to Moses to give to us. All these curses will come on you and overtake you. Again, however, if you do not obey the Most High, your power, and do not carefully follow all his commands and decrees I'm giving you today, all these curses will come on you and overtake you. Now, you have just received information sufficient enough to cause you to go back and study. Study what? Study the information that the author has given us, because it is an indication, a strong indication, the highlighted section, that if you are calling on the Tetragrammaton, you are calling on a pagan deity. You are worshiping the sun, S-O-N. I don't think I can make it any clearer, but you do what you want to do, right? I'm here to give you the information. Now remember, our people were kicked out of the promised land for calling on these deities. All right. So here we are, highlighted section. I think everybody has homework to do who's calling on Tetragrammaton. As you find the Hebrew or third degree Mason, Paul, in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 4, describing himself as having been caught up into the third heaven, where he heard, quote, unspeakable words, which it is not lawful for man to utter, end quote. Not lawful for a man to utter? Not lawful for a man to utter? I shall be damned if I utter it. But since it comes to me, let me repeat that. But since it comes to, that I'll be damned if I don't. I have it. The great secret is here. Uh-oh, y'all. Uh-oh. The great secret is here. We getting close. I am bursting to let it out. All right, I'm anxious to hear it. Come on with it. Where is the devil? Keep him off from me a moment. The unutterable word is, and I'm not going to read this because I'm not going to pronounce, I'm not going to let a deity's name fall off my mouth. So y'all going to have to look at this. Let me blow this up. I'm not going to make that mistake again. Y'all don't know the price I had to pay these last several weeks for making that mistake, okay? Believe that. Y'all don't know the price I've had to pay. So, all right, can y'all see that? I want to blow it up. It don't seem to. I don't know why it's not. All right, there we go. Y'all see the highlight? Now, I don't know what's going to be said after this in this. All right, but so here we are, y'all. The unutterable word is, so y'all see the highlight? Okay. And I'm not going to read this because I learned my lesson. Y'all take a look at that. What alive? And the secret is out. The common secret of Freemasonry, of Christian, of Judaism, and of paganism. But what is its meaning? So here we see the Greek. Let me highlight that. Here we see the Greek. All right. The name of the supreme being as uttered from the sacred tripod of the Delphic oracle. Oh, wow. So here it is. Here it is, y'all. I pronounce, and then here we see the name. I pronounce, and here we see it in Greek, to be the name of the supreme being. Let me let y'all rest on this. Does that look like a tetragrammaton? I don't know where the author is going with this, y'all. I really don't know where he's going. So let's just take him at his word right now. I don't know if he's going to throw a curveball. Let me put this, get this in the full. All right, there we go. So y'all take a look at this, okay? All right, so this is the name according to the author. The Hebrew degree knows this to be the name of the supreme being. They do not pronounce it, but the author says he's going to pronounce it. All right? He's pronouncing this name to be the supreme being, according to the Hebrew degree of Freemasonry. All right? I, the symbol of unity in number, Alpha and Omega, A and O, the first and the last, the beginning and the end, which was and which is to come, quote, the Almighty, end quote. So here's the deity again. Disguise it if you will. Utter it in any tongue of all the people earth. Disguise it if you will. Speak it in any tongue, in any language on earth. That's what the author means. its essence and significance is none other than what, y'all? Y'all see that? The name of the supreme, capital G-O-D. Do y'all see that? Everybody see what that is? Everybody see that? The Hebrew degree of Freemasonry identifies the deity whose name is spelled B-A-A-L as the name of the supreme being. All right? Is it clear? I would love to see what y'all are putting in the chat. The deity whose name is spelled B-A-A-L, the supreme deity that only the highest level Freemasons in the royal art get to know, but they're not allowed to speak it. All right, so I got to reduce this down, y'all, so we can continue. Give me 1 second. All right. Okay, so here we are. Okay, it says, when the covenant, let's get the page together. When the covenant that is the vernal equinox, that's March 21, when the covenant that is the vernal equinox was in the bull of the zodiac, from whence the name of the sacred animal in our own language to this day, and ox, the never varied Egyptian name of the sun, S-U-N, thus providing the S-U-N sun to be, as indeed it has been, the great and only object of all religious worship, and the science of the sun, S-U-N, or of astronomy, the interior and esoteric secret of Freemasonry, the science of the sun, being the secret sense of all mysteries, of all mysterious allegories, and the sun, S-U-N, itself, the ultimate object of all religions. The Father of all, in every age, in every clime adored, by saint, by savage, or by sage. And here we go, y'all. The deity. Y'all see that? The deity. End of the second lecture on Freemasonry. I like the way this chapter ended. I really enjoyed this presentation. Now, we cannot stop here. We cannot stop here. Normally I don't do this, y'all. Normally I do not do this, but I'm going to do it for you all. There are some things that I never share outside of our Saturday class, Saturday 10 a.m. There's some things that I absolutely never share, but I'm going to share this with y'all outside of that venue. Okay, and we do a whole class on this topic. All right, we do a whole class on this topic and why I'm not getting what I want. Maybe this is it. Zion Law School scholars have been through this a million times. They know it, should know it. I'm sure they know it back and forwards. All right, so let's see what we have here. Does anyone have, if you have a hard copy of the expanded exhaustive Strong's, please pull it out. If you have a hard copy of the expanded exhaustive Strong's lexicon, pull it out. All right. I don't know, King Michael. I don't have a clue about that. Appalachian Joe L writes, gotta be up early in the AM. Blessings to all, love and light. Shalom. Man, I haven't said that in a long time. All right. So let's look at Strong's number H1180. Zion Law School scholars, I wish there was someone here with me to present this for y'all. This would have been a good opportunity for one of our scholars to go through this. All right, so this is Strong's number 1180. H for Hebrews, H1180. And y'all see the deity's name here, right? Okay, so you see the deity's name here and you see the deity's name here. They're the same, all right? All right, so y'all saw this was my capital L-O-R-D when the author was reading that, right? Here's the relationship to the Tetragrammaton. This highlighted word right here is called a contracted form of the Tetragrammaton. In other words, it's the Tetragrammaton contracted, meaning that there are less pictographs than usual in the word. Now here we see the word again, right, that we saw. We see the deity right here, okay? Now let's continue down. Let's see what it's going to tell us here. All right. We see the deity whose name is spelled B-A-A-L. It can also be spelled B-A-L. Let me repeat that. It can also be spelled B-A-A-L-I. From B-A apostrophe A-L with pronoun suffix. My master, B-A-A-L-I. A what? A symbolical name for the Tetragrammaton. Now, who can ever argue this again? Zion's Law School scholars, you'll know what I'm talking about. Who can ever argue this? The Tetragrammaton and the deity whose name is spelled B-A-A-L and B-A-A-L-I. And there's other spellings too. They're the same. It's a symbolical name. These are synonyms, the same deity, y'all. The author has presented a case. He's given you evidence that if you are calling on the Tetragrammaton, whatever way you pronounce it, whatever way you pronounce that name, the Hebrew Israelite way, a Camp's specific way, the Jewish people's way, or the English common way that we're looking at right now, does not matter. It's still the Tetragrammaton. You are still worshiping the pagan deity whose name is spelled B-A-A-L or B-A-A-L-I, and there are other spellings too. In violation, although you didn't know, in violation of the very first commandment, don't bring another power before my face. For emphasis, and this is the last I'll say about it, but for emphasis, you are worshiping the sun. Okay, Gary Tucker writes, well, JC is alleged to have spent many years in India, hence the sacred cow. All right, there you go. Would appear to be that, right? It's what the author pointed out. So all of these people, Hebrew Israelites, who are calling on the Tetragrammaton are actually unknowingly I'm talking about the innocent people, not those who may be Freemasons, the innocent people. You have been led into calling on a pagan deity, the same pagan deity who got us kicked out of the promised land in the first place. You've been bamboozled, hoodwinked, led astray. So now it's time for you to return to the Most High. Do your research. Don't listen to me. I presented you with information and evidence. It's up to you to decide what you're going to do with it. Everybody's welcome to come to the class Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where you learn more stuff like this, but in greater detail and with really good people. Your co-scholars are really wonderful and supportive, and they'll help you get to where you want to go, provided you want to put the effort and commitment into it. Okay. Today was a profound presentation. Please like and share and subscribe if you haven't already. But please share this video with everybody you know, okay? Because it's not Dr. Yasapa saying it. A lot of people get mad at me and hate me. But it's the author, Robert Taylor, the author of The Devil's Pulpit, who doesn't have a dog in the race. He's been dead almost 200 years. This man is trying to clear his conscience up by telling the truth as he saw it, as he knew it. Okay? All right. So if you like the information that you learned, consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. Also, consider supporting us financially by subscribing to the 101 Ancient Ibaryath course, where you can learn how to do what the author is doing. Everything that I'm reading and demonstrating, you can learn exactly how to do that, even more so than what you see the author doing. I'll teach you that in this course, 101 Ancient Ibaryath. And also every Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will teach you how to use Ancient Ibaryath like a tool, like a sword, to open up the scriptures and pull out things that you cannot even imagine that are there. If only you were in our Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time class to see this for yourself, it would blow you away, right? But you don't know that. For you, I'm just talking. Show up and find out for yourself and see if I'm exaggerating. All right. So if you like what you heard, if you like the content, if you like the way that I teach, or if you're just like me, consider subscribing, okay? We need your support to not only keep going, y'all, but to make it better, so that we can buy better equipment and make our presentations more professional. You know what I mean? Polish it up, create opportunities for other people. It would be a really would be something that's really good. All right. So for those of you who want to learn Ibaryath, this is my lexicon. This is the Dr. Yasapa Ibaryath Aramaic and English Verbal Roots Lexicon. So this has all verbal roots, all of the verbal roots that are in the Hebrew scriptures. All of the verbal roots that are in the Hebrew scriptures are here in Ibaryath. It's a 1,639 verbal roots, y'all. And this is one of the books that I have written, prepared, published, all of that. So if you want to know more about Ibaryath, this is a great place to start because it's going to give you the verbal roots. Now, if you want to support, we have, of course, a lot more books. But I'm just going to show another one because I got the tab up already. Okay, so let me go into, one more after this. Animals in the Bible. This is only not, if you're on a budget and if you have a child, a baby, or a young person in the house, or if you're a visual learner or all of that, this is Animals in the Bible. Only $9.99, y'all. Full color, gives you the Ibaryath name of the animals in the Bible. Also shows you how to pronounce them, and it tells you what they mean or its meaning in English, okay? So go ahead and get this. It's only $9. This is full color glossy. Full color glossy. I mean, you can't beat that, y'all. Let me show y'all one more. This is a very, very important book. This book is about the Ten Commandments. We do a word for word breakdown on the Ten Commandments, y'all. And I don't know. Well, just let me. We do a word for word breakdown on the Ten Commandments. Every word we go to its etymological meaning and its morphology, and we do everything step by step. Step 1, step 2, step 3. We explain everything in minute detail. Okay, everything in minute detail, and it's very easy. The way I wrote the book, it's very easy to understand. Very easy to understand, okay? So let me just show it, all right? And then we'll move on to the next thing. Now, the links for all of these books, all of the classes, the one-on-one streaming class, the live Saturday class, all of the books, they're in the description area of our video that you're watching right now. So this book right here, the brown one, this is the Ten Commandments, a word for word breakdown, if you will, of the Ten Commandments. This is Phoenician Hebrew 101. Okay, now this also has a lot of the meanings of grammar terms in it. And it also has something to do with the Tetragrammaton that'll take you deeper, grammatically speaking, it will take you deeper into the Tetragrammaton than what we just went through right now. In our class, we go through this, okay? It'll take you deeper, give you greater understanding from a linguistics point of view, okay? From a grammar point of view. All right, y'all. So all of the links are in the description area. So if y'all like the content and you want to see Zion Law School grow, if you want more of this content, if you want the information to become more professional videos, so we'll have money to hire people to do graphics, right? To do editing, all of the stuff, right? Because I can't do it all. I would like to, but I cannot do it all, okay? But it would be nice if we had the funds to do it. So let's say, for example, people who are active in the comment section, if we had the funds to actually pay them, right, to put the work in, but all of this stuff takes finance. But when you have money to pay people, you tend to get a consistent, better output or effort than if people are just doing things for free, right? So it takes money to get the message out, and it takes money to present the message in a way that is attractive to people. Because as you can see, a lot of what we're writing, a lot of what we are presenting is hard for most people to swallow. It turns them off. I've been doing this for a long time. And there are people who come to me a year, year and a half, 2 years later, or even 3 years later, and tell me that they apologize for the way they treated me when they first heard this information from me. All right. So with that, I'm going to say thank you, most of all, to the people who have been with me from the beginning. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the support in the comment section. And for those of you who are new, thanks. I hope you enjoyed this. If it was difficult for you, keep coming, keep learning, and you will grow. And eventually, those feelings will become more positive. But anyway, your conscious, I'm sure, is telling you what to do. All right. So I'm Dr. Yasapa from Zion Law School. I want to thank Gary Tucker. I want to thank Appalachian Joel, Roderick's Point of View, Jerice, and King Michael. I want to thank you all for helping me get through this in the comment section. I appreciate it very, very, very much. I really, really do. So thank you guys. All right, scholars, we will be back tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. No, 9:30 p.m. We'll be back tomorrow, 9:30 p.m. We're going to pick up on page, we're going to begin on page 263. So page 263, we will begin part three of the lecture on Freemasonry. Part 3 on the lecture on Freemasonry. That's part 3, page 263, lecture on Freemasonry, part 3. Tomorrow at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Y'all let me know what y'all think about what we covered today. Put some stuff in the chat. I would love to know what y'all think about this. Okay. So Shalom and Islam to all the Moors. Genesis chapter 2, Genesis chapter 10, Jubilees chapter 8, Black's Law Dictionary. Look up the meaning of land. Okay, you will see that all people from the earth are Moors. We're Moors according to law. We are Moors according to law. Shalom, Islam.